Rachel. This video that I'm responding to, Rachel Oates made, I'd say about 4 months ago. I'm not sure. I think it said 4 months ago. So I'm not that fast. I mean, I'm fast, but I'm not that fast. So I'm just catching up with a lot of these guys. So forgive me for responding late, but I feel the need to because Rachel went ahead and stepped into my territory again. And in response, firstly and foremost, I would like to say, well done, madam. She spotted the mine and she disarmed it this time. I'm going to show you a quick clip of what she said and then we'll get into this discussion because there's some things I feel are really important to say here. She thanks before this clip earlier in the video, she thanks Godless Cranium, of course, for boosting her yet again, and I should like to go ahead and second that. Thank you, Godless Cranium, for everything you've done, especially boosting some of these people, getting these things going. You're doing a hell of a job. I really appreciate everything that you're doing. The initiative appreciates every moment of spare time you put into this. Uh, he seems to be a pretty awesome guy. I'm looking forward to meeting you officially in person. You know, screen to screen. But here's a clip of Rachel.
Yeah, I have a hell of a lot to thank him for. But basically, when I was on his podcast, it was all very last minute. One of his guests dropped out. He asked me, like, are you free tonight? And I was like, yeah, I am. What do I need to do? And he was like, nothing, just turn up at this time. And then I had tech issues, and it was a bit of a rush, but we got there in the end. And one of the questions that his audience put out for me was to ask whether I label myself an anti-theist. And I'm like there, completely on the spot, like trying to cobble together some answer for something that I kind of haven't really thought about that much. And I just basically said, I don't think I'm willing to give myself that label yet. I get where anti-theists are coming from. I completely understand their view. I get why they call themselves anti-theists. But for me personally, I don't think I'm at a point where I'm willing to give myself a label that essentially argues that every case of believing in a god is always a bad thing. I just said I wasn't prepared to give myself that label.
And that is just fucking beautiful. Thank you, Rachel, for saying that. You are actually the first atheist I've seen. I mean, maybe I'm not up to speed. I haven't seen everybody's stuff yet. There's still some that I'm finding at random via synchronicity, but you're the first one I've seen to step up to the plate and say that. And I'd like to give her a second round of applause, a standing ovation for Rachel Oates for successfully stepping up officially to the platform of badass motherfucker. Pardon my language, madam. I understand you don't like curse words, so I'll try not to use them here for your benefit. She says that she'd like to thank Godless Cranium for her. He's responsible for her having any viewers. I'm gonna doubt that. I mean, I'm sure he boosted you greatly, madam, but you're awesome. You would have made it on your own. Maybe taken a little longer, but you would have kicked ass on your own. I'm sure of it. I should like to ask you though to give a little thought to that particular incident wherein you became the special guest spot because another guest dropped out. You had some technical issues. What happened that made you available at that time? Anything odd? If you're not familiar with how synchronicity operates, you can look into it anywhere on the internet, or you can look into my channel and I'll teach you exactly why these things happen and how you can take advantage of them more often. She said she's not willing to give herself that label that, essentially argue that every case of believing in a God is a bad thing. And that she says, I didn't think this was such a controversial issue, but it is. And yes, it is. It's a controversial issue, Rachel, because there's a part of your brain that understands what God really means. There's a part of your brain that understands that there's a rift between you and yourself, that there's a rift between you and many other people, that's the major divide in humanity. There's a part of you that knows that that is the ultimate fucking mistake, causing that rift. And the fact that you have bridged that divide in your own mind, and I see it, I see it. The fact that you've done that, it's impressive, and also stood on the side of atheism. I'm sure there are others who have done it, but you're kind of the newer one, you know, and you have the courage to step up and to say that, when a lot of other atheists that you probably look up to would have said the opposite, would have said that we're anti-theist, wherein they don't even really know what that means. Like, seriously. I'm gonna go ahead and try to explain it a little bit here, but it's something that people really do care about, yes, because that's a cancer in our society. That's a major illness in our society. This extremist comprehension between being a fanatical religious zealot or a militant atheist anti-theist, which is not even really the case. You guys are anti-religion, and thank God for it. Thank God you are against religion, because religion is an illness. It's a problem. It starts out as something, maybe a platform for a good ideology, but it becomes a cult. It becomes a sickness. It becomes a cancer, and I'm very happy that you guys are helping us deal with it, because that's a part of our job. That's what the initiative is here for. We're not anti-religion. We're not here to eliminate religion altogether, but we are going to eliminate the problems that religion is causing, and it might do some damage to religion itself. And as I've said before, I've left the initiative to create soul mechanics in an effort to go ahead and attack that directly. So anybody out there who is, you know, firmly based in that religion, in those religions, I highly suggest that you give it some serious thought, do some real soul searching, because those institutions, that church, it's coming down. Anyway, she asks whether you think it matters. I've already answered that for you. Yes, it matters. It very much matters, because the fact of the matter is that religion is religion and theism is not the same thing. And theism, essentially, real theism, true theism, is believing in yourself and believing in your people, believing in community, believing in life. The initiative is pro-life. We are not pro-religion. We are not anti-religion. And you essentially have described yourself as being that. Where people said that some of your commenters, your viewers, said that they said a lot of mean things, according to her. One of them, a commenter, said that she is psychotic in nature and to be avoided at all costs. I should like to sincerely respond to that particular commenter and saying, fuck you, asshole. Sorry, lady, about the language, but seriously, go fuck yourself. These trollers, man, these trollers that jump on and just say shit that they don't even know what they're talking about, but they just want to put people down and start arguments. That's a serious problem. That's a psychological illness, and it's happening because of this rift. That is the bottom line divide right there between believing in anything at all and being against it and giving up on yourself entirely. That's the rift that division has caused in humanity. That's dividing us all. Believing in division. That's what is divide. That's what the ultimate problem is. Just dividing us all is just a simple consideration of division itself. Now, another commenter said that a commenter said that she had hypnotic eyes. Specifically, she said her eyebrows, but she said she had hypnotic eyes. We'll come back to that. Another commenter said that oh, they didn't. Never mind. That was the last one. The eyes. But she responds. Oh, one commenter said something about her being a feminist, and then somebody else arguing, you're not a feminist, you're some other label, and she says, well, does it really matter? The labels don't really matter. And Rachel's been saying this for a while. Rachel's been saying just that. It doesn't really matter. And you know what, Rachel? You got it. You got it. It doesn't fucking matter. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's my attitude. But I apologize. But no, it doesn't really matter. And she says it's kind of wishy-washy, which she uses that term a lot. I like that. You gave me that. I'm going to use that a lot, because it grew on me. But She says that these labels, these considerations, why do they really matter? She asked that question, and you know what? That's the question you want to be asking. That's the question we want everybody to be asking. Why does this matter? Because it doesn't. We've been tricked into believing in things that do not matter at all, and they're dividing us. They're causing rifts in our society. They're destroying us. They're killing us all. These considerations that have no true value whatsoever. The values the value systems that bring these considerations into being are entirely illusory. If you dig into them, you're going to find that the only resting platform they have is built upon themselves. They are grounded only in their own suggestions, and it's a vicious circle that creates these ridiculously inane bullshit considerations that have no real value or matter whatsoever. And Rachel's been asking that the whole time, especially when she's dealing with some of the other bigger atheist YouTubers who ask or who speak to that, who raise arguments of that regard. And Rachel's been asking them, why does that matter? And they haven't given her an answer. In fact, they kind of ignored her. And that's poor behavior on their part, because where it comes to that particular, I'm speaking to the episode wherein it was Rachel, this rationality guy, and Alex speaking to philosophical matters, pseudo-philosophical matters, really. Rachel was the star of that show when they were speaking to nihilism. I'm going to get to that video. I have to cover that for a certain reason. But Rachel, you were the star of that show for sure. And I really appreciate you just being there, whereas they didn't seem to so much. And I mean, I'm not speaking down to them or saying they did have poor behavior towards you, though. I mean, they weren't really talking about anything, in case you didn't notice. They weren't actually speaking about anything at all. We'll get to that in a second. But what we want to do, she says, where it comes to the thing with the feminism, the commenter about feminism, she's not feminist or something else. She promotes gender equality, and that's what we do. We promote equality. We're fighting for equality. These labels are distractions. They're distracting us from the reality of the factor that we do need to be promoting equality. We need to be eliminating labels, eliminating division. That's what we're fighting for, and you, in fact, are fighting for it too, Rachel. You've spoken it loud and clear here, where people said that, or you said that people think you're supposed to be the face of atheism, spokesperson for atheism. You're yourself, and you know that, and you've spoken it loud and clear here. You're not going to be that label, and thank you for that. Because, I mean, the truth of the matter, Rachel, is that you're an operative. You're an operative of the initiative, whether you say it or not, whether you believe it or not. Someday you will. Someday you'll come to understand it, but whether you want to accept that reality or not, that's what you're here to do. You're here to fight for equality. You're here to battle division, and I can see it in you. She says she's willing to acknowledge, she thinks it's important that she's willing to acknowledge when religion has wronged us as a culture, but still remain impartial and be unbiased where it comes to her considerations of people, and that saying that she's unbiased and refusing to label herself as anti-theist is, either or does not mean that she is pro-religion. And yes, that's the case. And the fact of the matter is that you being unbiased, having that nature to be unbiased in this situation and to walk into circumstances of that regard without immediately autonomically suggesting to yourself that religion must be wrong in some way, that's, you're operative, you're awake, you're alert, or at least you're getting there. And the atheism, theist or atheist, in this regard, where it comes to what you guys are considering theist to mean, religious fanatic or atheist, is both of these labels are not only incorrect but inadequate for you. You're much more than that, Rachel. You're much more than an atheist spokesperson. You are something incredible. What you really are is intangible, and that's really, I want to make this clear right here. None of these atheists are actually anti-theists. Religion is anti-theism. Religion is fighting to separate you from the reality of what God is. And where it comes to militant atheism and this movement of militant atheism, that's religion succeeding. That's religion taking the next step and succeeding in causing for you to kill your connection to what God really is. I'm going to say this. What we fight for here, the initiative, and we don't, not everybody agrees with me on considering the terminology for what God is or the God concept, and that's okay. That doesn't matter. That's my personal consideration. What the initiative fights for is evolution. And we're fighting you guys, you atheists, you have a firm evolution in, or a firm belief, mind you. It is a belief. It's a faith-based ideology believing in evolution. You have a firm belief in evolution. The initiative believes in evolution as well, but it doesn't seem you've considered the evolution of the mind, of the self. And the reason for this is because the self, the mind, is synonymous with the soul, and you've gone ahead and decided not to believe in a soul existing. But Rachel, the questions you're asking are coming from that perspective. The mind is the soul. Life is one big soul. That's what God really is. You don't have to call it God. You don't have to use that term. You don't have to think of it that way. But that's my own personal consideration. And I think if you give it some real thought, you're going to come to that conclusion, because the fact of the matter is that, where it comes to you speaking with people like Alex and Rationality Guy and Long Hair Guy about, them, or watching them speak rather, about, the pseudo-philosophically arguing the validity and considering the reality of self, they're just lost, Rachel. They're at the boundary. Myself and everyone that I work with in the initiative, we've been there before and we've made it back successfully, and we've all come to the same rational conclusion. Those guys, they're at the edge of comprehension, at what we call the boundary or the wall. They're stuck there. It has a certain gravity to it that pulls your consciousness there and keeps you stuck there for a while. But when they actually manage to figure their way back out of it and get back to here, to reality, they're going to have the same conclusion. You are real, man. Don't let any fucking buddy ever tell you otherwise. Pardon the language. You are real. You are very real. And in fact, you are realer than most people as it stands. You've got a grasp on what's really happening. You're asking questions that matter. And you know this. You know that you're real. You know that you are a soul, that it does exist. Whatever it is, we don't know exactly what it really is. That's what we are investigating. This concept of God exists, but what is it? It doesn't mean that we understand it. It means that we know enough about it to get a handle on our relationship to it. And we know we do communicate with it. We are aware of the fact that it exists because it communicates back to us. And it's something that we've all experienced. So we can say absolutely for certain that yes, we do have evidence of it existing. And you, knowing that you are a real person, that you are a mind, a soul, behaving, that you are in action, that you are an operative entity, knowing that, it should be enough evidence for you, because it's happening right in front of you every passing moment. You are consciousness. It is real. It does exist. And the philosophical meanderings of these dudes who are just basically not really saying anything at all, but arguing back and forth over semantics, that's meaningless. And yes, the answer is, does this matter? That's the answer. That question is the answer. Does this really matter? I don't think so. You are real, and I can tell you this in case you don't believe in yourself enough as it stands. If you don't have that belief, trust me. I'm not going to tell you to trust me, obviously. Why would you? But you can trust me. I'm never going to lie to you. You are a real person. I've got spotter's eyes, lady. I can see the real you. I know that you know this. And you know what the best part is? You've got them too. They kind of come off as being a bit hypnotic to most people, especially when concerning spotters who have not realized that they are spotters yet. Anyways, bravo. Good show. for disarming that mind and then standing up for your true beliefs. Thank you for that, Rachel. That was badass. So keep at it. Thank everybody else for watching. Thank Godless Cranium again for bringing her into the fucking circuit. Kila Salai, Terve Uni Siari Namaste. Oh, Rachel, Namaste.